Right now, I'm challenging myself to see if I can make 128 Regulation H teams that are each different from one another over the course of 128 days. Why 128, you might ask? At the end of the 128 days, we're going to do something special where we battle every team against each other in a single elimination bracket to see which team emerges on top. There will be some competitively strong teams, there will be some gimmick teams, and there will be some probably a good number of goofs and gaffs in there, so if you want to follow through to the end, subscribe so that you can keep up with each day. But without further ado, let's move on to day 121. Okay, so admittedly this team started out with good intentions, but it just kind of didn't go anywhere if I'm being honest. So I had this one planned out for a while that it was going to be Dreadnought as the signature Pokemon for a rain team down the line, and this is going to be the last rain team. But this team, as I mentioned before, it really didn't go anywhere. Like, we have 3 new entries for the 128 teams challenge of Pokemon that would not have been on teams if not for this team, but they're just not great doubles Pokemon. I think that you could argue that Dreadnought, Fortress, and Electros are all much better singles Pokemon, especially Fortress, but we'll talk about those Pokemon whenever we get to them. But this team is just a rather underwhelming rain team. There's no other way to put it. So starting off with our Pokemon Dreadnought, we have the Swift Swim ability so that we can double our speed in rain. We are one of the extremely slow Swift Swim users, so we will be getting outpaced by anything that has double speed control, which includes Tailwind users. Pokemon that use the sun will directly not only negate our ability, but super duper outspeed us. So Dreadnought is one of the rougher Swift Swim users to try to be using, especially since also it is a physical attacker. We have the Clamulet just so that we can block the Intimidates, but Dreadnought's move pool is at least pretty good. Like, we have the Razor Shell, which gives us a strong water type move and a 50% chance to lower the target's defense so that we can combo it up with another Razor Shell in the next turn. And we also have the Rock Slide that we can use to spread attack the opponent, and we had what was the signature move in Generation 8. Later Jaw Lock got added onto Roaring Moon, but Jaw Lock is interesting because you can use it to stop the opponent from switching out their Pokemon, and then it's also decently strong dark type move that you probably wouldn't expect to come out of Dreadnought. And we also comboed our Terra with it on Dreadnought as dark so that we could maybe avoid pranksters, but also so that we have a better matchup into side spam teams. And then we just have Protect so that we can try and dodge a Fake Out or just save ourselves for a turn with Dreadnought, because Dreadnought is a pretty frail Pokemon relatively. Next, we have our Weather Setter, and for this Pelipper team, I just wanted us to be a Damp Rock Pelipper, so that way we can have at least one use of a weather increasing rock, because I don't think we've had one for any of the weather teams previously. And this Pelipper is pretty standard with the Hurricane and the Weather Ball, but we also have the U-Turn to give us a bit of an option to slow pivot out with Pelipper to try and save it for another rain time. Whenever we slow pivot out, we can take an attack with Pelipper and then maybe bring it in order to set up the rain later if a battle does tend to go on for a while. Next up, we're going to be using Fortress, and I wanted to put Fortress on a team just because Fortress has a lot of options, but also on a rain team makes sense to have a Bug Steel type because our only weakness is Fire, which we can use to mitigate with Pelipper. Fortress has such a low special defense stat though that it is really difficult to use in doubles, and its moveset is way more engineered to be better in singles because we have a lot of variety of moves like the Body Press, and we also have Ice Spinner specifically so that we can try and get rid of the grassy terrain that Dreadnought does really not want to see, because that means it's just going to get grassy glided and KO'd immediately. So we can use Ice Spinner to try and stop not only grassy terrain but all terrains. It's just grassy terrain is the most important one. And we have the Gyro Ball so that we can do big steel type damage into the opponent because we are such a slow Pokemon as a Fortress. Fortress has so many options. I mean, you can Bulldoze, you can Drill Run, you can go for the Poison Gem, you can Pain Split, we have Rock Slide, we have Seed Bomb, we have so many moves. We have Thunder Wave, we have Toxic Spikes, we have Volt Switch. Like, Fortress's moveset is definitely more designed to be a singles Pokemon, and it just struggles in doubles, but it's at least worth giving a shot on this team, is what I thought originally. And we also have the overcoat on Fortress just so that we are ignoring powder moves, and we have the leftovers so that we can gain HP over time, and we're Terra Dragon so that we can negate our previous weakness to fire and give us a resistance to it instead. Next up, we're just slotting in a simple Among Us set. This is going to be your Rage Powder for the redirection, your Spore for putting the opponent to sleep, your Sludge Bomb for a little bit of poison damage to try and deal into those pesky grass types that are going to hit into Dreadnought and Pelipper like trucks, and we have the Pollen Puff just to side heal up our Pokemon in the event that they are just a little bit weak, and Among Us can side heal them up so that they can take another attack. That's pretty great. And then since we also have the Regenerator, we can switch out Among Us in order to try and keep it healthy, but the Citrus Berry will also help us do that, and our Terra Water just gives us a lot of good resistances. Next up, we're slotting in Goldengo, another Steel type, in order to help us deal with Grass types. And we are also a Ghost type, which means that we have a better matchup into Fighting types. And this Goldengo is going to be running its 2 stabs in the Shadow Ball and the signature Make It Rain for that spread damage. But we also have the option to go for the Thunder, which will be 100% accurate whenever Pelipper sets up the rain. So we can do some big electric type damage there. And we're Terra Flying just so that we can gain some new resistances whenever we Terrestrialize, in order to make it so that Goldengo could stay on the field for another turn, and we have the Life Orb just to increase the damage of all of our moves. And lastly, we have Electros, who... what do I want to say about Electros here? I mean, it's here. Electros is just another Pokemon that it would be better in singles. It's just that it has so many moves, like just such a wide variety of moves, like Flamethrower, Giga Drain, I think Dragon Claw is in here. We have Outrage in case I can't find well, I guess it's alphabetical, so Dragon Claw would be, yeah, right here where the D's are. But there's just such a wide variety on Electros that's really what Electros does, is it benefits from the surprise factor of its moves, and I decided to use those moves to give it a little bit more of a rain-orientated set, as we have Levitate so that we can dodge the ground type moves that Dreadnought and Goldengo would be weak to. But also, we're an electric type, which means that we resist other electric types and steel type moves that could be thrown into our team with Electros. And with Electros, we can coil up, which means that we will increase our attack, defense, and accuracy, which is pretty strong. And then to back up the attack boost, we have the Drain Punch so that we can try and get our health back and just give us fighting type coverage, as well as we have the Stab, Supercell Slam, which with the accuracy boost from the coil, we will never be missing a Supercell Slam, so the only way that we can hurt ourselves with the 50% damage is if we use it into a Protect or a ground type. But if a ground type is going to hit onto the field, we're Levitate so we can at least be immune to it, and we also have the Terra Water Liquidation to hit that instead, and with the Rain Boost, the Liquidation will be hitting even harder. And then lastly, we are Safety Goggles on the Electros, mostly so that we can just avoid the powder moves. But yeah, that's the basic gist of the team. Let's get into some battles. So first up, we have a battle against a Komo-O Trick Room team with the Blood Moon Ursaluna, and because they have Trick Room and we do have some slower Pokemon on the team, it's a little bit easier for us to deal with Trick Room, which not a lot of the Swift Swim teams tend to do because they want to depend on their hyper offense nature of the Swift Swim being in rain. So we let the first turn play out, and they end up leading Komo and Electabuzz, and we lead Dreadnought and Pelipper. And we know that this Komo-O really doesn't want to get hit by Pelipper with the Hurricane, so it makes sense for the Electabuzz to redirect. But also Komo-O could just go for the Protect here, is pretty safe, and Pelipper could also go for the Protect, and since Electabuzz is an electric type, it pressures our water types quite a bit. Not so much Dreadnought, but here we swap Pelipper out for Fortress just in case they did go for an electric type attack, and we do miss the Razor Shell on Dreadnought at the 5% chance, which is a little annoying. We're clear Amulet so we don't get speed dropped by the Electro Web, which is nice, but now Fortress has the speed drop, which also means that we'll do more Gyro Ball damage into whatever we hit if we weren't at max Gyro Ball damage already. But they stall out a turn of rain here as Electabuzz follow me's and gets the Razor Shell put into it, and it gets the defense drop as Komo decides to go for the Clangerous Soul, thinking that it can't KO everything on the field, and also follow me is pretty safe. Gyro Ball is going to do some damage to Electabuzz as Fortress gets some HP back. Now we swap into Among Us here, and we try to get the Rock Slide since Electabuzz was going to die anyways due to the defense drop, and we get lucky enough to at least get the Rock Slide flinch on the Komo-O, so we make up for our Razor Shell miss. Kind of. But now the opponent brings in Sinistcha for their next redirector in order to save Kamo, and Hospitality also heals up Kamo a bit. We do Jaw Lock the Sinistcha, which does about half, but the Clank Scales is going to take out Dreadnought and bring Amoonguss down to its berry, and Sinistcha just heals up Kamo with the Life Dew, but we get the Spore into the Kamo because Amoonguss was so tanky. We maybe could have actually just protected Dreadnought on that previous turn, now that I think about it. But then again, protecting with Dreadnought risked the Sinistcha going to set up a Trick Room there, and then Sinistcha attacking into Dreadnought would not be a great thing for us, so maybe not. But we return Pelipper to the field here on what would have been the last turn of Rain turn, as the Kamo is taking its first sleep turn, and Sinistcha heals it up, meaning Sinistcha is actually faster than both Amoonguss and Pelipper, which means the Sinistcha has quite a bit of speed on it, actually. But here we throw Pelipper Hurricane into Kamo, and we get some Sludge Bomb chip into the Sinistcha, and Kamo takes its second turn of sleep, as Sinistcha is just trying to Life Dew it back up, but Hurricane is able to take Kamo, and now we get to Spore into Sinistcha because it changed into Terra Water, because it probably expects Hurricane for the redirect there. But now they bring Ursaluna to the field, which is their last Pokemon, and we get 2 more turns of rain because of our Weather Rock that we have on Pelipper. So it really benefited us to have a Weather Rock here in this game where the opponent is taking a long time to stall us with their setup. But we swapped out Amoonguss so that we could get Regenerator, or in order to get a little bit more of HP in the future. And Fortress is kind of a necessary sack here. We do try the Weather Ball into Ursaluna, but Ursaluna just protects, and now we have 1 turn of Rain, where we bring Amoonguss back in at full HP, and they tried to Blood Moon into Pelipper, but Amoonguss takes it because of the Regenerator, and we get some good Body Press chip into the Ursaluna. Not enough to 2-KO it, unfortunately, but that doesn't matter because Ursaluna protects, and Sinistcha is just trying to wake up as we double into the Ursaluna, but Sinistcha does get the wake up here, and it goes for the Life Dew to even further put it out of the Body Press KO range, and Hyper Voice comes out just so they can do damage to both Amoonguss and Fortress, but also save their Blood Moon for Pelipper in the future. But Pelipper gets to set up the rain, and the rain is going to be here to stay for quite a bit. Ursaluna protects again as Sinistcha goes for the Life Dew, but we read that here, and we Hurricane, and we Body Press into Sinistcha to get a good amount of chip on it. It does activate the Aguav Berry here, but now we can afford to protect Pelipper as we Rage Powder, and they decide to go for the Blood Moon into Pelipper, and Body Press does get a critical hit into Sinistcha, but that doesn't matter here because we went for the Hurricane into Sinistcha, and they do Earth Power crit into Fortress, but I don't think that crit matters because Fortress just has such low special defense, but they finally decided to get rid of Fortress just so that Fortress can Body Press into the Ursaluna and KO it once Pelipper took out the Sinistcha. But now it is a turn where they protect out, and they try to double protect on this next turn in order to theoretically stall out the last turn of Rain, and if they had gotten it, then they would stall out the Rain, except we're Weather Rock, so we actually didn't matter anything about that double protect. They would need like a quintuple protect there, I believe. Yeah, 5. They would need 5 protects in a row. Alright, here we have a battle against a snow team with the Frost Rotom for dealing a lot of damage, but they also have fairly offensive, speedy, fast pieces in Talonflame, Garchomp, and Blaziken, and Samurott just does so much damage with its sharpness. But here we bring Dreadnought and Pelipper to the field so that we can get the speed control immediately, and they do bring Rotom and Samurott, and they immediately swap into Abomasnow to cancel our Rain, as the Rotom is faster than Dreadnought, so it just gets the Thunderbolt in, but that is why we went Terra Grass on Pelipper in case this play happened, because we U-turn out with Pelipper into Abomasnow just to get some chip. We do take Rocky Helmet damage, but now we can bring in Goldengo, and Pelipper is going to set up the Rain. So not the greatest turn 1, but we are back in the driver's seat for this next turn. At least it just cost us Dreadnought, and also the Rotom is choice spec, so we know that it is locked into Thunderbolt at this point. So they swap in Samurott here because they want to preserve their weather, and we make it rain into the opponent to get some chip on both Mons here. Goldango's special attack goes down, and the Thunderbolt is able to take out Goldango with the Electric Terra, but while they're ball the Rotom in return, and now it is Electros, and Abomasnow hits the field here. Aqua Cutter does land the critical hit and would have KO'd us if the rain was still up, but because they brought in the Abomasnow Electros is able to live, and we do land the Hurricane into Abomasnow at 70% accuracy, and Electros gets off the Supercell Slam in order to take down Samurott, and now it is just Garchomp left in the back, which means that they Rock Slide because they only had Earthquake and Stomping Tantrum, which can't hit Electros. So because Electros is Levitate, they have to go for Rock Slide, which could have missed, and we could have gotten off a Liquidation into Garchomp. But also because we have the Snow set up, our Weather Ball is currently Ice type, so we just need to land it into Garchomp. We do Flame and Pelipper flinches and the Earthquake here, but Earthquake is not enough to take out Pelipper, so Weather Ball just takes out Garchomp. So we did get a little bit lucky during that game, but I would say it was more so because the opponent didn't really use their weather too great. And lastly, we have what seems to be a full brain team with 4 different Swift Mons and Archaludon, who is the King of Rain. The battle starts, and they lead Kingdra and Overquill, and we lead Dreadnought and Amoonguss, so neither of us actually lead Pelipper. And I don't even think I brought Pelipper in this match, just because I really didn't think it was going to help me too much. But we start with Rage Powdering with Amoonguss, and Draco Meteor gets caught into Amoonguss, which Amoonguss takes decently okay. His Throat Chop also gets put into it, but we get Rock Slide Chip into both of these Mons, as Dreadnought is slower than both of them, so it doesn't get to flinch either of them. Throat Chop comes out into Dreadnought, and we continue to Rock Slide just for a bit of damage, as Fortress came in to maybe try and catch a Draco and a physical move from the Overquill. But we got some health recovery because of Regenerator on Amoonguss. This next turn, Dreadnought is just going to protect as Aura comes out into it from Archaludon, and Amoonguss loses a lot of that extra health because of Throat Chop on the switch in. But once we see that they swap out Overquill for Pelipper, probably because they wanted to go for Electro Shot with the Archaludon, as we swapped in Goldango because I wanted to catch the Aura on our Ghost type. And also, the Amoonguss can't redirect the Archaludon because it is in fact Stalwart, so that's not how it works. But they charge the Electro Shot, and it does quite a bit of damage into Goldango here. I tried to Spore, but it's actually Goggles on the Archaludon, which I wish I knew beforehand. And Archaludon is also max speed Archaludon, so it is 1 speed point faster than the fastest Goldango. We resist the Hurricane from Pelipper, but it does confuse us, but our only way out of this game is to flinch the Archaludon with Rock Slide, and also, flinch the Pelipper as well, since a special attack from Pelipper will do a lot of damage to Fortress. But the opponent reads this, and they go for Wide Guard with Pelipper, as Dreadnought just hits itself in confusion, gets KO'd by the Archaludon, and Fortress does get the Body Press, doing a bit more than half into the Archaludon. Fortress goes for the Terra Dragon and try and live the Electro Shot, but Fortress such low special defense, and the fact that Archaludon already has the boost means that we are going to be able to take down the Archaludon here at the cost of Amoonguss, but now they just bring in one of their other Swift Mons, and Fortress is going to be outmatched. So a bit of an unfortunate end where I'm really not quite sure what we could have done better there, as the Overquill especially keeps us from leading Goldango. And maybe if we had used our redirection better with Amoonguss right away, as we did take a Draco and a Throat Chop, and we didn't get very much in return with just the Rock Slide chip on those 2 Pokemon, we could have gone a little bit farther, but these are just a very powerful rain team, and our team already is just a kind of underwhelming rain team. So yeah, that was the painfully underwhelming rain team, and obviously I mentioned at the start of the video, but Dreadnought, Fortress, and Electros all have their own unique kits that make them stand out, but not in a way that is great for doubles. Like, I think it's perfectly possible that in the future there's gonna be a meta threat that maybe Electros, Fortress, or Dreadnought can all handle in their unique ways. It's just that those meta threats don't exist right now, especially with Archaludon in the format, who kind of takes all 3 of these Pokemon and is just way, way better in Rain. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked it, maybe consider leaving a like on the video, and even consider subscribing, because both of those things would help me out an absolute ton, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you.